have the pleasure of introducing you to Andrea Di Anselmo, a long-standing member of EURADA. He's the director of Meta Group, a consultancy from Italy, and he's joined by his colleague Anita as well, I see. Hi, Anita. Hi, Andrea. I leave
Ciao.
you to Andrea. Hi.
Can you hear me well?
I can.
Okay, great. So if you can, I guess everybody can. Good morning to everybody. Welcome to this session hosted by AGORADA. It's always a pleasure for me and for all of us to contribute to the discussion that EURADA is fostering, and it's a privilege to be part of the EURADA's family. I would like to introduce the next panel, who is focusing on the, let's say, investments, international investments that can contribute to the, let's say, recovery of the situation. And to discuss how innovative measures and financial instruments can contribute to the implementation of such investment with a specific focus on investments that involve territorial cooperation and an international dimension. Having in mind that we need to work together and we need to cross borders in order to face the current challenges. And having in mind that has been discussed and introduced, there is the need of public-private partnership in order to optimize the use of the public resources to de-risk investment opportunities, and knowing that we are living in times of fast changing environment, and the COVID was just something that accelerated these changes, but changes that were there since before. So the panel will provide us a unique opportunity to discuss how to identify projects, how to make sure that these projects are sustainable and bankable, which means that can benefit from the intervention of a new generation of financial tools, but generally speaking, can benefit from an intervention of funds brought in both by the public and private side. And we will also learn about new financial instruments that may be available in the next future. So we will focus on investment opportunities, not just projects. We will understand how blended finance, which means public and private contribution, can help in de-risking the investments. We will also discuss about the importance of the market validation in order to contribute to the de-risking, and we will also learn how digitalization can help to address these challenges. Having in mind that it's not just an issue of how the infrastructure is good in order to make sure that we de-risk, but it's also a challenge on how the governance is set up and what the organization is behind the investment. So the first speakers will be Marta Kulecka from ECORIS and Anita Tregner-Mlinaric from Meta Group. They will present the experience gained with two support actions that are providing services to partnerships, international partnerships, in order to come up with investment projects that can face and tackle some of the challenges and risks that the current situation is bringing. Then we will have some intervention from projects that are going to be launched and are working with these support services in order to come up with bankable opportunities. And after this, we will have Valentina Pinna from the European Commission providing us an insight on what is going to come next in order to provide additional financial instrument to de-risk this kind of investment. But let's start with Marta from ECORIS, that will be then followed by Anita Tregner-Mlinaric. Marta, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Andrea. However, I don't see the slides. I was told that colleagues from EURADA will share the screen. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, good morning, everyone. Well, not so early anymore, but we're still before 12, so I think I can say good morning to everyone. My name is Marta Kulesza, and I'm working at ECORIS. I've been a coordinator of Reconfirm initiative for about 3 years now. The initiative is ending this month, in fact. And I will tell you a few words about our experiences of working with partnerships and on developing interregional investment projects. So if we can go to the next slide, please. So what is Reconfirm for you, for those of you that are not familiar with it? So Reconfirm has been a 4-year initiative that has been placed in this context of S3P industry platform. And it had to stay quite adaptive and however, at the same time, focus on its final objectives. And what those objectives have been? Well, the overall objective of Reconfirm has been to support regional authorities in implementation of their smart specialization strategies in order to enhance competitiveness of European industry. And the Reconfirm initiative has done so via different means, for instance, by establishing concrete cooperation networks at EU level, which were based on priorities identified in national and regional smart specialization strategies, by pooling regional efforts and bringing about cooperation in specific industrial domains that strengthen existing or help create new value chains, by helping identify investment needs and obstacles at a regional level, by helping partnerships to develop investment protocols, which would then seal their cooperation, and by supporting regions in identifying new and emerging opportunities by matching research strength and business needs in the regions. So if we go to the next slide. So as I already mentioned, Reconfirm has been established 4 years ago as a main support mechanism to partnership on the S3P industry platform. The platform distinguishing basically between 4 different phases of partnership development, moving from the establishment of thematic areas to bankable project, as illustrated in the figure that you can see on the slide. And Reconfirm supported partnerships mainly in phases 1 and 2, so focusing on mapping competences and matching business opportunities, as well as designing concrete investment projects. For phase 3, in 2019, a new support service was put in place, a technical assistance facility that Anita will talk about, I think, right after me, which also served as a motivating factor for partnerships to develop faster their investment ideas, as only mature projects, so those that reached the phase 3, could be accepted for TAF support. And then the outcome of these 2 support services are investment projects that are then able to apply for financing. If we go to the next slide. So overall, what has Reconfirm achieved over the past 4 years? Well, we have delivered support to 18 partnerships, and the support that we have offered, including different event formats, mapping of competences, development of next actions and roadmaps, as well as identification of investment ideas and drafting of investment protocols. And in this figure, you can see that different partnerships have achieved different results, because some of them appeared on the platform as early as 2017. Others have joined very recently, as late as 2020. So the outcome of Reconfirm support are of course a bit different across those different partnerships. The older ones, such as personalized medicine or Industry 4.0, developed investment protocols and applied for TAF with their investment ideas, and some of them have already completed the TAF support. Others, such as chemicals or social economy, applied for TAF and are awaiting results of the selection process. Newer partnerships, for instance, hydrogen, or mining, are at the stage of roadmap development or fine-tuning their investment ideas. So they are not yet at the phase 3 of the support. If we go to the next slide, in terms of some numbers and main achievements of the support. So apart from signing 7 investment protocols over the last 4 years, 28 matchmaking events were organized for different partnerships with over 660 participants. And these activities led to creation of over 80 working groups and generation of 56 interregional investment ideas. And those ideas are at different levels of development, but some of them have already draft business plans and are getting closer and closer to financing stage. Therefore, availability of funding instruments in the future programming period will be, of course, crucial if we want to see those projects materialize. And if we go to the next slide. So just to summarize, Reconfirm supported partnerships from very diverse industrial domains, ranging from tourism, Industry 4.0, sports, etc. And it contributed to development of innovative project ideas that we believe are responding to key industrial challenges over times. So just to give you one example of such support that was provided to partnership SMEs integration to Industry 4.0. So Reconfirm brokers supported this partnership in development of their project, which is called ENCAM, European Network of Centers for Advanced Manufacturing, which aims to establish a network of specialized laboratories to enable SMEs the access to state-of-the-art testing facilities and technologies. And such shared facilities operated by the consortium members. So different regions would work as one-stop shop that would enable SMEs to, for instance, validate innovative solutions or products they're trying to develop. It would then help them to shorten time to the market period and minimize the risk of value of death, as well as to advance existing business model of their existing as well as new clients, and therefore facilitate the acceleration and the adoption of target 4.0 technologies. So the project is implemented by the Slovenian Technology Development Center and an Italian cluster representing the mechanical and metalworking sector. So this is just one example of the support that we have provided and the results that we have achieved thanks to Reconfirm initiative. So thank you, that's it from my side.
Thank you very much, Marta. Thank you for presenting Reconfirm. And we will learn more about ENCAM thanks to this presentation of the representative of the center. But now I would like to give the floor to Anita, Anita, she will introduce us on TAF and will let us know what is important in order to have investment projects that are bankable. That means that are able to benefit from the new financial instruments that will be made available in the next programming period. Anita, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I will be just waiting for the presentation to be uploaded. But in the meantime, first of all, thank to EURADA for inviting us to be part of the program, as well as to Marta for already making kind of an introduction to TAF, because as she said, Reconfirm started first and we took part in that consortium as well. And then we had the pleasure to be part of TAF as well. Which started later, and it doesn't have that much experience as Reconfirm does, but I think that still majority already knows us, and at least we hope that that you're pretty much aware of the services that TAF is providing. But I will say more in a few minutes. Just to ask for the presentation, or I can share the screen.
Yeah, Anita, is better, I think, if you share your screen.
Is it okay? Okay.
Yes, it's totally okay for us.
Okay. Do you see it?
Yes, please.
Okay. So what is TAF all about? TAF stands for Technical Assistance Facility. And also, as Marta already mentioned, as it was the case with Reconfirm, with TAF, we are also here to support the partnerships under S3 Platform for Industrial Modernization that are already at this phase 3, as also Marta showed, meaning that the maturity of their investment projects, it's at the level that they can apply for this assistance, meaning that they have ideas and business plans that are investor ready, or at least close to be, and they apply for TAF, where we then mobilize the experts coming from business, corporate finance, and legal expertise ground to help to shape the project, depending on where their needs are. So as already mentioned, we have started in January 2019. And we already have quite a number of projects that we are supporting. Some are already in the pipeline, and we will end with our service in 2021, at the end of 2021. So what do we have to have in mind when we are talking about the investment propositions? First, clearly, we have to distinguish that investments are different from horizon projects or this type of European projects that usually we apply to. So when we are thinking about investment proposals, we have to think of those that we have to have in the right shape and with the right elements as we are going to apply for a bank loan or similar. Meaning, when we are obtaining funding, we really need to have in mind all these elements that are tackling the legal and regulatory context, as well as its financial viability, meaning that we have a bankable business plan which has all the right propositions in order to get funding. So who is TAF targeting then in this case? So as I said, we are targeting the partnerships under S3 Platform for Industrial Modernization. But these the partnerships need to have in mind that then applying for TAF also means that they're already at the stage where they have the memorandum of understanding in place with their core partners that are mobilized around the investment idea that they have in mind that they would like to implement. They do have active participation of the industry, meaning having companies and business organizations or the end users at their side, as this is very much important for having the investment idea in place that can be commercialized. as well as to have other stakeholders that are the right partners and actors depending on the idea they would like to implement. And of course, the international dimension here is very important because we are talking about the cross-border investment ideas in this case. And of course, we need to, they also need to show that there is a consistency with innovations as three strategies. So when it comes to the tough applications, in order to be positively evaluated, how and what it needs to be described in the application. So you need to describe clearly what are the products and services you would like to place in the market. Who are the clients and customers that you are planning to serve? You need to have kind of an evidence that the investment idea that you have in mind, it's validated, meaning if you have the industry and end users at your side, this is already kind of a notion or a sign that, you know, the idea that you have in mind, you know, it is something that is needed in the market. Then you also need to have a notion, an idea of course, the business model that you are presenting, because this is a very, the most important part of it, as well as at least you have a good idea of the financial projections and the revenue streams you plan to realize. The consortium members, or better to say, the main partners, are very important as well, meaning that you need to show that you have the right capacities on board, as well as that there is an international dimension or the replicability in other countries and regions that you, if you are not able to achieve at the moment, but at least that you have idea how this can be done in the near future. So you need to demonstrate that you have the right capacities to work on the business plan together with the tough experts, as well as later on to implement the project you are having in mind. Meaning, when we are talking about the implementation, that you can show that you have a clear governance structure. And here again, we are not speaking about the governance at the project level, the level of the EU-funded projects, but the governance in terms of having the right roles and capacities to work on finalization of the business plan, as well as later on in implementation of the investment idea, meaning that you will be able to manage the legal entity, most possibly that will be then in charge of managing the investment as well as of the implementation of your investment proposal. As already mentioned, it's very important to have the private sector engagement, meaning that you already can demonstrate that you have a clear commitment of the companies and that you are aware of the market needs, because having them aside, you know, this is already validating the idea. As well as having in mind that when you are talking about the funding, that also the blended finance can be a good option as part of your investment proposition. So to sum up, what does the successful TAP application entail? Because we did receive many applications through this almost now 2 years, but it's not that we were able to award and fund all of them. Because they were lacking some of the elements that I would like to highlight here, so that you know, when you are thinking of applying for this, you know, very useful tool, what do you need to have in mind? First of all, you need to be careful and read the eligibility criteria of the application, because before applying, you need to know if you are having all this, if you are at the level that you can actually that you can justify applying for the TAF. It is also very much that is linked to that. It's if you are mature enough with your investment idea for applying, meaning that all these elements that I just mentioned before, that you are already meeting them, meaning that then the maturity level, it is there to apply for TAF. And that you already have a business model and pre-ready business plan in mind, because you will see, and this is very important part of the preparation phase, that you need to check the TOEFL application itself and go through to see, while thinking of it, if you can already put most of the content in there, this means that you are ready to apply. As we mentioned before, it is one of the preconditions is to have this MOU or investment protocol, how we call it in our jargon, meaning that you have the core partners' commitment to work on this, because this is the process that takes time and resources. So it is important to showcase by signing this letter of commitment that the partners that have committed to this really have the capacities and the willingness to stay until the process is finalized. Then it's also very important to know that applying for TAF takes time. So please don't wait until the last minute to apply, because then you will run into problems that you will not be able to prepare a good TAF application. We recommend at least you take a month in order to work on that, so that you secure that all the elements are there. Then it's also very important to very clearly describe the idea that you have in mind, because unfortunately we have seen many applications that look to us very appealing in terms of the ideas that were put in front of us. However, they were either too technical or just not, we were not able to understand them thoroughly, so and clearly. So for that reason, of
Anita, 30 seconds.
To avoid them. Yes, I'm at the end. And also what is very important is that to secure the support letters of the stakeholders and the actors that you would like to be part of your investment proposal, because then this also means that you will be able to engage them and mobilize them in the implementation process. And I end here. Thank you very much. Just to mention one more thing, is that when it comes to what we are planning to do in 2021, is please check the TAF website regularly, because we will be publishing our next calls. The next one will be most probably on the 1st of February. And then you will also see what are the others that are incoming. And we will be continuing with the TAF workshops as well, and some new modalities that we plan to introduce in the beginning of 2021. So please stay tuned with us, and we hope to see more application coming in the next period. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marta. Thank you very much, Anita. This was an insight of support services which are available in order to make sure that your investment projects, your international investment projects, are somehow matching the requirement of the financing providers and investors. Now I would like to jump into the dimension of the different partnerships and different projects. And it's my pleasure to introduce Miquel Irullo. He is the director of the foreign action of the government of Navarra. He is a member of the European Committee of the Region. So he's somebody that knows things at different levels, operational and political level. And he's also the rapporteur of the smart specialization strategies and approach at the level of the Committee of the Region. So he's really the guy who is going to introduce us on what the partnership on social economy is planning to do in terms of international projects. Miquel, please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thanks a lot, Andrea, for your kind words. It's very nice to see you again, as well as Anita, who was the previous speaker. And are you listening to me?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, okay.
You can go.
Because my screen was freezed, and I didn't know if it was myself or okay. So I will be quick in this 10 minutes. So I'm just sharing the screen. Yeah, just to go fast into details. We are representing here the social economy partnership. It was decided already more than 2 years ago to go for this partnership on social economy, because we were as a region, we were really involved, and we are very involved in Vanguard Initiative. And what we took is all this methodology that Vanguard initiative has contributed with to the European Union on how to cooperate at international level through the smart specialization, taking something that it was not on the scope at the beginning, I will say, of anybody, such as social economy. No, we have seen that the partnerships are very thematic at the photonics, bioeconomy, hydrogen, tourism, even. But social economy is not a topic by itself. It's not. It's transversal, so it affects the whole economy. Social economy is about values. So social economy is about doing the same kind of economy that we know in everyday's life, but respecting some values. And what I want to tell, I mean, I won't go into what values are those, but just to tell you that everything in life is about values. We are European Union, and the European Union is also about values. It's key fundamental issue for us. I mean, and in certain ways, social economy values are really, really well aligned with the European Union ones. So, but just keep in mind that social economy is about doing economy. 2 million of social economy enterprises in Europe, 6% of the employees, but following and respecting some values. Such a democratic decision of things, and the capital is not the most important issue, and of course, I mean, what you do within the society. So we decided to go for it, knowing all this, and then, I mean, our partnership was about joining 6 different regions. Now we are at 7 because Valencia has just came into our partnership. So from the really north, Lapland, to the really south, I could say Murcia, 6 regions are involved in this, with the different traditions of what social economy is within our regions, but with the common goals of how to improve competitiveness of our social economy companies, how to embed the social economy sectors in our regions, smart specialization strategies. Of course, one of the things that we really not want to foster is the cross-border operations, creating these value chains, very focused on social economy clusters, because we are talking about companies, about usually small companies, but also big ones. So clusters are key fundamental issue here. And of course, internationalization and talent attraction. So we are just one of those, these almost 70 partnerships that are on the S3 thematic platforms, in the 3 ones. And these are the regions that we are involved in. It's led by my region, by Navarra. And been just going for what we have done in these 2.5 years. So first of all, of course, and following the Vanguard initiative methodology, first of all was to have this learning phase, this learn and connect, and then during the first year we spent it doing this mapping paper, working in a mapping paper, taking clear how were our stakeholders at the regional level, and making this exercise of getting to know each other. So it was to learn about what we were doing, referring social economy, but also it's very important we were connecting internally, because this is also a very positive internal exercise for other regions, but also, I mean, how to connect. Once we already elaborated this mapping paper, we were detecting some topics in which, I mean, we could need some more bigger, large approach, some more European approach, and how can we collaborate. And there was like several months of discussion. I mean, first of all, I mean, how many topics we should take, just 1, 2, even 3, because there were more than 3, the ones that we were discussing at the beginning. But of course, the capacity is something that's very important you need to take into account. So at the end, what we decided after several discussions was to focus on what we have called the European Business School of Social Economy. In order to reach to this objective of this possible investment project, of course, we have followed all the methodology that has been explained by our two previous speakers, and especially because we have worked a lot with Anita and also with Andrea, by the way. So we were just structuring our information, first of all, in what was our proposed investment project, but also we were answering questions relating what kind of challenges we were addressing to. So this is very important. It's not just to see, we need to describe what kind of challenges we are addressing to. What kind of interregional dimension are we looking for? I mean, why the interregional dimension is needed in order to go for this investment project? And also, I mean, what kind of collaboration it's needed, it's requested among all the different partners in order to develop the proposed investment project. And of course, then there are like more project attached points like who is the leader, I mean, organization, governance, no, of the project, what is the added value also, and in order to have a chronogram. So first of all was a big process in order to detect the investment, the possible investment project, but then we need to answer, and we still have to answer some like questions like challenges that we are addressing and why the interregional dimension is needed. At the end, I mean, this is the overall, I mean, picture of the investment project that we are now working on. We have just presented our proposal for the tough call less than a month ago. And so the European Business School of Social Economy, indeed, I mean, it should contribute to the common objective of promoting industrialization in the social economy through the development and consolidation of the social economy enterprises. Once again, we speak about economy, so it means enterprises. And the services that it will be offered by this Social Business School of Social Economy is much more than a school. We have kept the name. Now, I mean, there are, but it's much more than a school. It has been also a debate what kind of name we should add, because it was mentioned hub, but hub is now it's like the fashion word in Brussels, so it can be taken also as many other ideas. So finally, we have kept this business school, and services are, first of all, of course, is specialized online training. Training for teachers, but we need to know how to motivate the actors, how to collaborate, how to connect different civil movements that are very important in social economy. But services are, first of all, of course, training. This is something really, really obvious regarding the name. But also, and this is much more than a simple school, it's how to offer tailored contents developed under the request of regional social economy clusters, once again clusters, and other kind of associations, universities, training centers, and so on. So tailored content is very important because it's something that we are lacking on the European Union. Third point, it will be how to model for measuring the social impact. This is something that it is very important. Whoever knows a little bit the social economy, it's very crucial to measure the social impact that the social economy sector is having in the society. And this business school initiative investment project will offer this kind of measure possibilities, and something that is very complex and will be very long to explain. And for the last point, it will be to act, the social business school, to act as a social innovation lab and interregional scale up. So this lab will be hosted by the regional clusters, again, social economic clusters, and we will provide a research action approach. So it's 10 minutes already, so I will stop here, Andrea.
You still have 30 seconds, Mikel, for the last message.
So I will. I will profit to leave you this more philosophical message about what the social economy is about. It was said by the founder of Mondragon Corporation. You know, it's a corporation who has more than 70,000 employees in the world. So it's the largest social economy cooperative in the world, industrial. So I think indeed for us, this is the message that is guiding us in this partnership as well. So thanks a lot for the opportunity and hope to see you soon.
Thank you very much, Michael, and thank you very much for reminding us that we need to invest not just in technological infrastructure, but we need to invest also into, let's say, a soft infrastructure and in competencies and knowledge. And we need to invest in building entrepreneurial capacities, not just in the traditional sectors, but also in the new sectors, and also with a new vision of entrepreneurship. And for sure, this focus on social entrepreneurship and social enterprises is strongly needed given the paradigm shift we are facing in these days. Now, I would like to take the opportunity to introduce the next speaker, Ilkka Nikanen. Sorry, Ilkka, if I didn't get your name in a correct way. I hope I didn't go too far. Ilkka, it's introducing us on the European Network of Mining Innovation Hubs. Mining is a traditional sector, but it's also a sector with a lot of perspective for the future, especially having in mind what is going to happen in terms of sustainable development, energy and resource efficiency. Ilkka will introduce us on this new concept of investments. Please, Ilkka, the floor is yours. Ilkka, you are muted. Now it's okay.
Okay, I took this away. It's working better. All right. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for inviting me to join this meeting. It's my pleasure to be here today. So some words by my background. I'm working for Business Joensuu, which is a development company of City of Joensuu, and we are also a member of EURADA. And our aim is to foster business in our region, small and medium size and the bigger ones, to grow that business and get more international. That's the main thing. Please, the next one. Okay. First of all, I would like to tell you some words about the environment we're working with. So here is an international network of Business Joensuu, where I'm working, and the mining related operations, and they are connected to different things. In the last 3 years, this is very, very simplified picture, but I would like to show you that there's a levels of, up there is a global level, and then there is a regional and European level, and then there's a state and regional level. And what I would like to say that we've been involved in different big projects with our European partners. For example, on the left-hand side, there is a REMIX, European, 9 European regions. And on the right-hand side, there's a MIREO, 16 European countries. All of these are connected to the mining somehow. And then there's OECD up there. It's, as all of you know, the OECD, and we've been working with them quite much in our region as well. And in this project, we we created this mining industry and global value chains smart specialization initiative, and also our regional Outokumpu Sustainable Mining Solutions Hub. And I'm going to talk about both of these today shortly. Please, the next one. So shortly about this mining industry and global value chains partnership, as we heard before, it's a part of the bigger family of partnerships, and our aim is empowerment of SMEs in global value chains. This is the common aim, and then there is topics like critical raw materials, new technologies, industrial circular economy, social acceptance, education. So those are, let's say, ideas under this big idea to foster SMEs. At the moment, we have 9 different regions from the Europe, and I'm sure, almost sure, that there is some of them joining us, some more joining us during the next month. Please, the next one. So one thing we're just doing here and we're preparing here in this partnership is a European Mining Innovation Hub Network initiative. It's like an umbrella, and we would like to mutualize investments in R&D and development and industrial pilot investments, and pool efforts in the development of skills and expertise between the European mining regions. And we are focusing on limited number of common priorities: sustainable mining operations at the moment, circular raw materials, and digital technologies in the mining value chain. Of course, there is some more other coming, because we are just analyzing what are our main focus and expertise in the regions right now. Please, the next one. So here you can see that we're creating a networking between the specialized hubs, and each region is specializing in one or more priority topics, which is in their expertise. And of course, we are going to transfer the expertise between hubs via skills and access and joint investments. So complementarities is one big issue here in this network. The next one, please. At the moment, we can find the 3 core elements we are working with, and one is the Mining Innovation Hub service. And we would like to anticipate the needs in mining value chain, mobilizing hub private investments, developing service portfolio, testing training, and mentoring development of collaborative R&D projects. This is happening in a regional level. And then we're talking about the network services, Skills Academy, interregional voucher scheme for SMEs to access pilot demo facilities, joint export accelerators, services to extra EU markets worldwide. And the third is the funding model and the instruments for networking access and joint investments, industry membership fees or sponsorship, we don't know yet, and joint proposals to EU programs. We're just working with this. So all of these are under the work right now, but it's going ahead. Please, the next one. So the basic steps and principles, the each hub is defined based on regional needs and assets, demand-driven and industrial and other stakeholder joint commitment to a shared vision of future of mining value chain. And each of these hubs will be sourced from public-private partners at the regional level and national level as well. And we're just looking for this model. Well, the next one, I think. So this is the overview in a hub network in European level, and what are we doing here in the local level, and we've been done for 2 years already, is Outokumpu Sustainable Mining Solutions Hub, which I call it. And Outokumpu is a city, which is an old mining city about from the beginning of 19th century. But there isn't a mine at all, it's an abandoned place. But it's the birthplace of Finnish mining technology, and it's the birthplace of Finnish mining at all. And the hub is a development entity formed by several separate but related mining investments and projects in Outokumpu Industrial Park. And our objective is to create an internationally leading center of excellence in extractive industry. It's simple. And secondly, we provide sustainable innovation and development services to the mining industry at home in Finland and worldwide. So these two topics. And the core of service is based on our geological survey of Finland GDKs, more than 100 years experience of utilizing raw materials of the earth crust. So they are real experts in here, and they are the core of this hub. But it's strongly anchored in Outokumpu Industrial Park and its surroundings, but at the same time networking nationally and internationally. Please, the next one. And well, what I would like to say that sustainable foundation of the hub is strongly based on local interests and the interest of business. So this is a business driven. So I mentioned here key local actors. There's an industrial park, geological survey. There's a Fincobalt mine project, which is located there. Metso Outotec machinery plant. It's a huge one, but it's located there as well. Business Joensuu University is in Finland. And, which is very important, we already have 10 other companies in Finland given expression of interest for the project. Please, the next one. Just to show your picture how it shows that the hardcore of the hub will be located in Outokumpu Industrial Park, which is there 30 kilometers from the city of Joensuu, the main city. But all of them are located there in a very small area. The next one, please. Some words about the GDK. GDK, as I mentioned, is a 100 years old institution of research of earth crust. Please, the next one. And there is already existing a pilot plan for facilitating the objectives of pilot process. And we're just developing this one, already existing one. And please, the next one. What are we doing there? We are just, the big thing is that we are digitizing the whole process there. So they're doing a digital twin, which means that all the customers around the world can be online in this process when they are refining and researching their ore, for example. And then there's another things, re-engineered pilot plant, dry stacking area, and so on and so on. I don't go to the details, but have to say that this development plan is for 40 million euros. Please, the next. And then there is a cobalt nickel project, mine project already, as you know, that the cobalt is very important for Europe, because green transition means that we need more electric cars and batteries and so on and so on. But we need the raw materials for that. And we are hanging on China and hanging on Africa of this kind of material, the critical materials. And so we have to find more from Europe, this kind of materials. And this is a project for cobalt. Please, the next one. And you can see here the round there. All of these are nearby each other is in the 1 square kilometers, as I mentioned, just this GDK and this Fin Cobalt mining project, and the others, they are all like a laboratory, because they are in a square kilometer, all of them.
Ilkka, 30 seconds.
30 seconds. And next one, please. And then there's also Metso Outotec, which is a Finnish-listed technology project company selling complex mining technology and plant projects. And this equipment manufacturing is carried out at Outotec's workshop in the city of Outokumpu. All of these are there. So please, is there another one? Please, the next one. Okay, so I'm going to end. So what is my message? That we do have about 100 million euros investments in a pipeline already, which will have maybe happen in 2-4 years from now. And this is the aim. And we're looking for the finalizing the funding, but we're also preparing a new ones with private companies which are interested to come into this process. So this is something I would like to shortly show you what are we doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ilkka.
Yep.
Please, if you have questions, use the chat for the questions, and we will make sure that there will be enough time after the presentation for the Q&A session based on what you are asking. Thank you very much for presenting us these investment opportunities and highlighting the importance of the involvement of the private sector. I'm now pleased to introduce the next speaker, Aleš Hancic. He is the Managing Director of TECOS. TECOS is the Slovenia Tool and Die Development Center. And Aleš will introduce us into another investment project, which is based on Industry 4.0 partnership, and is going to explain us how this international investment project is going to support SMEs. Again, the idea is to show how to de-risk investment, in this case, investment from companies, having in mind the concept of testing before investing. Aleš, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I'm just gonna share the screen. Okay.
We can see it, Aleš, please.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I'm coming from TECOS Slovenian Tool and Die Development Center. And I'll present you our project in the scope of the technical assistance facility presentation, so in the scope of the tough call. So just a little bit about TECOS. TECOS is basically a private research center, private technical center, and we are problem solvers for our partners, our companies. We work with them and we provide them with technical solutions, with engineering services that if they don't possess the knowledge to solve certain problems, we develop products for them, we develop prototypes for them, we make computer simulation, 3D printing, prototypes, anything that is needed for their successful production. We also work as a research facility, and for our companies, we are doing research for them in the field of the Industry 4.0, processing control, automatization, robotization, sensorics, and implementing new materials, especially green materials, biomaterials, recyclable materials, and provide them with the latest knowledge on this field. We are also vet training facility, providing special knowledge in the field of the production, management, new materials, and everything needed for the company to successfully operate. And I would say at the end, we are also Industrial Association of Slovenian Toolmaking and Tool Users, which are basically the whole industry. And we are one of the largest Slovenian clusters at this point. I will present you the project Incomes. It's a tough project. The idea was established in the S3 Smart Region initiative. We gathered partners there, and the idea was to basically develop for a plan for the network of demonstration and testing facilities. It's basically to provide for the SMEs, testing facilities, infrastructure, to help them validate their solution, to shorten time to market, to minimize risk in the value of that, to basically test their advanced business model. Basically everything that usually SMEs don't have in their facilities, and they have to search for outside, and usually whether they don't find it or it's too expensive for them. The main benefits for the SMEs of this network of technological centers would be basically greater freedom of design. They could use the facilities of our centers, not only their own facilities. They can produce lightweight structures. They can do bio-inspired solutions, biodegradable materials. They can use complex geometries, basically everything that is needed that they don't have knowledge to do really complex products for their production. It's the main benefit, I would say, is broadening and deepening their practical knowledge of the companies, of their digital footprint, how they do it, how they solve problems, also how they manage production in their companies, and they can see what really the Industry 4.0 is there to provide them, what helps them, and why they should transit into this, I would say, factory of the future. What are the solutions and what are the benefits? So the risk of implementing solutions that they would prove not to be successful is greatly minimized if they can test or if they can see other solutions in our facilities. We prepared also financial investment plan. It would be private-public partnership. And actually, at this point in Slovenia, we are already preparing the whole program for this kind of, I would say, demo center and testing facilities for with our partners. To present it to the government, to present it to the EU, and hopefully, especially in the light of this, I would say, post-crisis environment, they will be also keen to advance the manufacturing also in this way. Thanks to the new facilities, TECOS will provide the following services. It's intelligent sensorics, it's artificial intelligence that provides, especially we have focused on the plastic production with special algorithms to reduce scrap, reduce times, reduce energy consumption, and basically reduce the cost of the production and also the cost of end products. This would be the benefit for the companies, but of course it doesn't stop there. We would provide them solutions in all the vertical chain of their production. This center is actually, it's actually market driven. The Slovenian companies and also the companies in the region around Trieste, they are also they are basically needing this kind of center. They're asking for it. We have talks with quite a lot of companies, and they really want the enabling to have faster testing, faster optimization, faster production process, to facilitate their innovation, to support the startups, support systems of the creation, to test their digitalization, because they still don't know how to use it, and also to have facilities to high performance computing. So a lot of companies are doing simulation and similar, and also are needing of such facilities. This private-public partnership facilitates laboratories. They are updated from existing one, and there is really not only, I would say, infrastructure, but also knowledge. So the people who are working there are available for the companies, are available for the people there to use it, to call them, to help the companies, basically to guide them through all the trenches of the development of new product or setting up a production. It's basically next steps that we want to do is really understand the market understanding, what is the sustainability of such centers, how to provide one-stop service design, how to governance such structures, what kind of the staffing requirements are, what are the stakeholder verification, and what would be the input from the industry, what are the market revenues. And we also, at the end of the project, so this was 1-year project, we will also ask for additional TEF support in the next stage, basically to develop the whole demo centers for the Slovenia, for the factories of the future. So this is it from my side. If there's any questions, otherwise it's enjoying to also work with Reconnect, with Anita, with Andrea, and also with Yuri Giacomelli. So I think that we also all benefit from this kind of program. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Aleš, for presenting your center and presenting this ENCAM International Investment Initiative, which is, by the way, going to be a cross-border initiative also in between Slovenia and Italy, because it's important to highlight that the challenge of building things that create international value chains. Before introducing the next speaker, I would like to highlight that we are discussing and presenting different way to de-risk an investment, de-risk of initiative that are designed to accelerate and speed and accompany industrial transformation at the end of the day, because this is the case, and that we face market risks.
There's one question. If
Tessa, would you like us to take questions now or at the end?
It's as you prefer, Andrea. You are the moderator.
Then, I mean, let's take the question now. Please, Tessa, can you just tell us about the question so Aleš can...
Okay, so the one of Aleš is from Henri, our colleague from OSNL in the Netherlands. And he's asking, how did you experience the TAF support and what has been essential TAF contributions?
Basically, from the very beginning, when we started the project, the support from TAF was very very thorough. They designated a special person, and this person is with you all along. So you have a kickoff meeting, you show them the problem, and then you start to develop everything from the scratch. So you see what were the goals in your application, and you have to develop this. So from the financial plan, business plan, services provided, support from industry, support from government, all this is included in this support. So at the end, to provide the final plan to go ahead with that. So it's very thorough support. It goes from the beginning till the end. And basically at the end, you have a written proposition that you can take basically. Well, it has to be bankable. This is very important. So you could also take it to the bank, but most importantly, you can take it to your government and you say, look, these are all the analyses. This would benefit the economy of, let's say, 2 regions. It would be very good if you can get some kind of support to implement this kind of project. So yes, it's I would say fruitful cooperation with the TAF assistance.
Thank you very much, Alex, to stress the fact that the main purpose of TAF is to provide the partnerships with a bankable business plan, because a bankable business plan is a key ingredient for accessing investment finance.
No problem.
You take another question, Andrea?
Yes, yeah, let's take another question, and then I will give the floor to Valentina Pinna, please.
We have one for Marta as well. So what are the plans for any continuation of Reconfirm after it finishes in its current state? And which thematic areas would you include if you had the chance to do it all over again, or if you had the chance given an extension, besides the 12 existing thematic areas that are now in place? We cannot hear you, Marta.
You're muted. Please go. Still muted.
Maybe we give Marta the time to think about it and go.
Okay. Let's see what's going on, because we cannot hear you for some strange reason. Then I will introduce Valentina Pinna. Valentina is a project and program manager at the European Commission, and she has a long-lasting experience in innovation management, and also she has a strong experience on the Vanguard initiative, and she will introduce us on a new tool, new instrument for the European Commission, the Interregional Innovation Investment Initiative, which is going to be another important component to de-risk innovative projects and facilitate access to finance. Valentina, please, the floor is yours. Yes, now we can.
So I apologize because I'm joining from my browser and not from my Zoom application because it was not working this morning. So, and I also apologize because I couldn't join the meeting since the beginning. I had another meeting before. So I probably missed part of your discussions and conversation, and you will have to apologize me if I will repeat something that was already discussed. So let's see if I can share my screen.
Okay, maybe in the meantime, Tessa, we can give the floor to Marta in order to answer the question while Valentina is getting back.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Ah, okay. I had to leave the meeting and reconnect. Maybe Valentina needs to do the same.
Yeah.
So can you just remind me the questions, because I didn't really understand the second part of the question.
Yes, of course. So seeing that Reconfirm is coming to its end, are there already any plans for any extension, continuation? And the second part is, if you were given the chance for an extension, which thematic areas would you add to the existing 12?
Well, first of all, as far as I know, there are no plans for reconfirm extension, and I'm not sure there will be. I mean, there is still TAF as an existing support to the S3P community, so this is still ongoing for another year. But in terms of reconfirm support, Commission has not proposed to continue with that. I don't know if there'll be other tools available to the community. This would be the question to be asked to the European Commission. And then on the thematic areas, the thematic areas, we were not the ones proposing them. It was a bottom-up approach when regions got together and they decided to work on those thematic areas. So it was not up to us to select them. So we were supporting everyone who wanted support, but the thematic areas emerged by themselves, so to speak.
Thank you, Marta. Valentina, please, you're still
Yes.
muted. Okay, now we got you.
So today I will present the new interregional innovation investment, which is an initiative which was proposed for the future programming period. Just to recap a little bit, I put a little bit of history concerning the policy framework to understand how we arrived to this new proposal for interregional innovation investment. So everything started in 2014 with the Commission communication on industrial renaissance, where for the first time it was highlighted that this link between industrial policy and cohesion policy. In particular, the communication was underlining the importance of smart specialization for industrial policy, because regions and countries, thanks to the smart specialization, could reinforce cooperation and develop activities which were useful for the relaunch of the industry. Following this communication, the 10 initial regions belonging to the Vanguard initiatives asked to the Commission to propose to the Commission to pilot a thematic smart specialization platform on industrial modernization, because the communication was highlighting the importance not to keep the smart specialization as general principle, but to decline this principle at thematic level, opening the possibility to create thematic smart specialization platforms. So Vanguard decided to pilot this approach, this new approach, and 5 pilots in the framework of the platform were created. The inspiration which was given by the Vanguard initiative is basically to use S3 as coordination principle for interregional cooperation. Basically reinforcing the outward-looking process of the S3, looking outside of the region and trying to identify regions with similar specialization priorities to build business and investment projects. After 2 years of testing this new approach, the Commission decided to uptake the work which was initiated by Vanguard in the platform on industrial modernization and opened the possibility to other partnerships to join. So, and also in addition to that, the Commission decided to launch 2 new thematic platforms, one on energy and one on agro-food. So all European regions were invited to join forces and to create bottom-up S3 partnerships. After this step, the Commission launched, the presidency of the Commission launched this new paper, Harnessing Globalization Reflection Paper, where again it was underlined that this approach was considered important because was helping to reinforce the resilience of regions facing the crisis. So thanks to this endorsement of the presidency of the Commission, we had the possibility to accelerate this interregional innovation, and we could launch this proposal for a new instrument, because it was underlined the need for a new instrument to reinforce the role of S3 and to accelerate innovation in EU strategic value chains. So the Commission, DG Regio, proposed to create this interregional innovation investment instrument, which was initially called Component 5 in the framework of European territorial cooperation. And it was considered an opportunity for coordinated investment, public, private, but also multi-level investments founded at EU, national and regional level. And all this framework was highlighted in the framework of the communication Strengthening Innovation in Europe's Regions, which was published by DG Regio in 2017. So here it's a little bit to have in a nutshell the key steps that allowed us to have this instrument in place today. Next slide, please. Here it is what I was mentioning before, the creation of the 3 thematic platforms, one on the industrial modernization, the first one, agro-food and energy. The industrial modernization has now more than 33 partnerships. The partnership on energy has 6 partnerships, and the partnership on agro-food has now 5 operational partnerships. The purpose of interregional S3 partnerships was to basically to help quadruple helix partnerships to cooperate and bottom-up identifying common areas of interest and joining forces to avoid duplication, to exploit complementarities, to increase the critical mass for potential joint investments, and also to reinforce investments along value chains. And doing all this in the framework of a broader synergy framework where each partnership has to try to combine regional, national, and EU funding. Next slide, please. All this process of cooperation in the framework of the thematic platforms was inspired by a methodology which was initially designed by Vanguard and further developed by the JRC. So you can see this 5-step methodology composed by 5 phases: learn, connect, demonstrate, commercialize, and scale up. And you can also have guidance. You can find guidance in this methodological manual, which was developed by the JRC. Next slide, please. Here you can see the 5 phases which I was mentioning before, with all the support activities which were mobilized by the Commission. In DG Regio, we mobilized AMILIST experts and TAIEX peer-to-peer initiatives to support in particular the learn and connect phase. In parallel, DG GROW with the reconfirm and tough initiatives supported the partnerships, in particular for reconfirming the first phases, learn and connect, and tough in particular in the red phases, in the demonstration, trying to design a concrete and bankable business plans which could be proposed to investors. This just to summarize a little bit the framework. And our interregional pilot action, which was launched by DG Regio in 2017 and implemented in 2018, from 2018 to 2020, was had the intention to accelerate this process from the learn phase to the commercialization. So we tried to provide special technical assistance to the selected partnerships in order to accelerate this process, moving from pure networking to investment. Next slide, please. Yes, next slide, please. Here is a summary of all the support mechanisms to the partnerships which were mobilized, just to have a complete picture. And here the only missing one is reconfirm, is TAF. But you have more or less all the key elements that we found coherent with the framework which we were developing in the framework of the platforms. Next slide. For the future, so coming to the future, as you know, we will have a new cohesion policy framework with 5 policy objectives: smarter Europe, greener Europe, more connected Europe, more social Europe, and a Europe closer to citizens. Interregional innovation investments is an instrument which is conceived in the framework of cohesion policy and horizontal to those priorities, in particular to the PO1, the smarter Europe. Next slide, please. The PO1, the policy objective for a smarter Europe, basically has a objective to promote an innovative and smart economic transformation, and it has to an investment need to support the development of solution, pilot and demonstration and testing, tech transfer in the areas, in the specialization areas where the regions have more potential to succeed. So this is the policy objective where you have to concentrate the resources for the areas where your region has a real potential. Next slide. Yes, here you can see that for the other four objectives, policy objectives, you can use the money to deploy the solution that have been developed in the framework of the policy objective 1. Okay, next slide. And here you see the picture. Here you see the focus on policy objective 1, which is composed by 4 sub-specific objectives regarding enhancing research innovation capacities, the uptake of advanced technologies, digitization, support to SMEs and scale-up and startups, and skills for smart specialization. Those are the 4 specific objectives. And in particular, smart specialization will be an enabling condition for the first specific objective, research innovation capacities and uptake of advanced technologies, and for the specific objectives regarding SMEs. Interregional innovation investment is complementary, and you will see in the next slide why. Please, next slide. You see here that we have in the framework of the smart specialization, we have proposed a set of enabling conditions, 7 enabling conditions, and the good governance of smart specialization will have to be demonstrated with the 7 criteria. One of those criteria to fulfill the enabling condition, good governance of smart specialization, are measured for the promotion of international collaboration. And those measures could be implemented in the framework of thematic smart specialization and thematic smart specialization platforms, and in particular in the framework of specific S3 partnerships. Next slide. So in order to prepare the new instrument, Interregional Innovation Investment, we have launched an interregional pilot action. This pilot action was intended to test new approaches to boost international collaboration. 8 partnerships were selected from the 3 thematic platforms. Next slide, please. And you can see here the first 9 partnerships which were selected and that were implemented in the pilot action, which were implemented in 2018-2020. Sustainable buildings, marine and renewable energy, bioenergy, cybersecurity, high-tech farming, 3D printing, remanufacturing, traceability, and big data. And those are all bottom-up pilots, bottom-up partnerships which emerged from the platforms. In addition to that, the Commission decided to launch a top-down pilot, which was focusing on batteries. This was a call for expression of interest launched by the Commission, where regions interested in joining forces on batteries were invited to work together. So this was the first experience, and this first top-down pilot was concluded in March this year. And after in this particular period is where we had the COVID crisis, and we decided to use the same approach for a new pilot action on COVID-19 response and recovery. So we identified the sector which were more affected by the COVID, and we like the tourism and the healthcare sector. And we decided to launch two pilots on COVID-19, healthcare, and tourism. And in addition to that, we decided we identified the hydrogen as another key sector for investments that the Commission would like to reinforce. So you can see at the bottom the 4 additional pilots which were launched, and that will start at the beginning of next year. The purpose of all those pilot actions are basically to test the new approaches for the new instrument, basically commercialization and scale-up approaches along the European value chains, methodologies to attract private investments for investment projects, and also the possibility to explore synergies between different EU instruments. And lessons learned will be used to design I3 instrument. Next slide. So this was the initial proposal in the framework of European territorial cooperation. Basically, what I was mentioning to you, projects, investment, which were focusing commercialization and scaling up of innovation, of interregional innovation along value chains. We proposed a total budget of 970 million, around 11.5% of European territorial cooperation resources. And we proposed to implement this instrument under direct or eventually indirect management. And the beneficiaries were identified were the beneficiaries eligible for ERDF, basically researchers, business, civil society, public administration, all those key actors involved in the development and in the implementation of smart specialization strategies. Next slide, please. So we had the long negotiation process, and at the end, we ended up with the new instrument, not called anymore Component 5, and moved under from European Territorial Cooperation to ERDF. And here you can see the text, the legal basis of the new instrument, which is now called Interregional Innovation Investment, and with a shorter name I3. So you see that it is basically there was an agreement at technical level to put it under ERDF, and but the recommendation is also to ensure a strong connection with the territorial cooperation programs, and in particular with the Interreg Europe. The purpose of the program has not changed. Is always focusing commercialization and scaling up of interregional innovation investment, and it can cover the entire territory of the Union, even if the participation of third countries is possible, according to Horizon Europe rules. We foresee 2 strands, basically 2 strands that are going to support financial and advisory support.
Valentina, a couple of minutes left.
How many?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Oh my God. So next slide, please. You can read the legal basis alone. So after the negotiation, important information is that apart from the legal basis that has changed, also the budget was cut. So we will only have 570 million available in current prices. And the management will be, we hope, will be direct, in the sense we are preparing everything for the direct management, the implementation and the direct management. But we will have also to negotiate the work program with the member states. Next slide. So here you can see the 3 strands of the new instrument. Interregional investment in innovation project. The strand 2 is focusing less developed regions, and the third is supporting learning, evaluation, and capitalization. So strand 1 for more developed regions, strand 2 for less developed regions. Next slide, please. Here you can see the division of resources, more or less the same amount of resources split between strand 1 and strand 2. Next slide. We cannot see it anymore.
No, it's on the screen. It's on the screen. It's on the screen.
Wait, because it disappeared from my screen. Okay, so strand 1, value chain projects, and that you will be able to propose in the framework of the topics which will be identified in a biannual work program. You will have the project will have to be proposed by interregional ecosystems, and you will have to prepare projects with the average duration of 3 years. The technology readiness level is between 6 and 8, and the average size of those projects will be around 10 million euros. Next slide. The type of beneficiary will be mainly SMEs, and we will have an average budget per call of 40 million euros. The mechanism of implementation will be cascading funding, and we foresee to give grants. In terms of implementation modalities, 2-stage selection process. Next slide, please. Strand 2, basically it will focus on building preconditions for successful interregional and international collaboration, basically reinforcing capacity building, reinforcing the capacities of the less developed regions in order to be able to connect with global value chains, with the value chains of multinationals, but also to reinforce the condition for innovation diffusion and internationalization. So reinforcing the ecosystems internally, but also externally, reinforcing the capacity to connect externally. Next slide, please. The next slide, please. We will skip this. This project will be smaller. It will be a sort of simplified innovation actions, similar to the strand 1, but simplified. Maximum, you will be able to present the application also with 2 regions, and not with 5 regions like in the strand 1, but also the size of the grant will be smaller, around 4 or 5 million euros. For the rest, the strand is very similar to the other one. With the here it's written 1-stage selection process. In reality, yesterday it was decided that also strand 2A will have a 2-stage selection process. Next slide. The capacity building project strand will be mainly technical assistance. With more or less, we have the intention to finance more or less 10 grants per year with the annual budget of 4 million euros. So basically small grants of 400K, similar to what in Horizon we call coordination and support actions, basically helping the regional innovation ecosystems to build capacities, to participate in international quadruple helix networks, organizing, for example, study visits, twinning projects, the mapping of potential markets, benchmarking, etc. Next slide, please. And the other strand is to support the animation of the platforms. Basically, the activities that are now implemented by the JRC, they should be implemented by a new agency supporting the thematic smart specialization platform and evaluation and capitalization activities. Next slide, please. Next one. Okay, just to summarize the key concept that you have to keep in mind when you think to this new instrument. First concept is the concept of European value chain. So the investment must be linked to a European value chain. So it's important. Here I put an example, but for value chain, we intend the combination of activities, actors, strategic networking, interconnected through companies, sectors, and borders. Is what we mean, and we mean that the value chain is to be composed by the different elements of the ecosystems, including end users and consumers. Next slide. The other key concept is the concept of ecosystem, interregional ecosystem. For interregional, we mean that for the strand 1, you will have to mobilize at least 5 regional innovation ecosystem, or if you do not have regions in your countries, you can also put national ecosystems, but you will have to demonstrate the place-based dimension. And for the strand 2, 2 innovation ecosystem will be enough. But try to go beyond cross-border, because the regions and countries which are complementary to your specialization priorities might also be beyond the borders. Okay, next slide. For the concept of innovation, we refer to the Oslo Manual. So all sorts of innovation, not only technology innovation, but when we talk about technology innovation, we focus on technology readiness level between 6 and 8, and we focus on the uptake of innovative technologies. Next slide. Here is just to show where our instrument is located. It's the last part, basically from TRL 6 to 8. So you can see that you will have to focus the investment on post-prototype investments, which are focusing on the demonstration of the technologies in operational environments, and in order to bring results to the market. Next slide. And for investment, I will not spend too much time on this, but because Andrea already mentioned that, and we will have the possibility to discuss. Basically, when we talk about investment, we want to have as output from the project a pipeline of private and public investments facilitated by S3 innovation ecosystems. And those business and investment plans will have to contain all the key elements of a business model canvas with the clear definition of the market analysis, the key partners, the innovation activities, the resources that you want to mobilize, the value proposition, and the cost structure, the revenue stream, the analysis of the customers, etc. Next slide. I think it is the last one. Yes, it's about the stakeholder consultation. So we have launched the stakeholder consultation, which was closed on 30th of September. Next slide. We received 153 responses with 35 position paper. We are now assessing or reading and processing the data collected. And we will be able to present the results by the end of January. The results of the stakeholder consultation on I3 will be used to design the new instrument. So at the moment, next slide, the next steps will be the preparation of the work program, which will be finalized in the first quarter of 2021. we will set up an expert group to validate the work program and to integrate, to improve the work program. And the first call is expected to be launched in during the summer next year. So it means implementation in 2022, because the time to grant will be aligned to Horizon, so not less than 8 months. And if we go for 2-stage evaluation, probably it will be 1 year. Thank you. That's all from my side. If you have questions, I'm available to answer or to participate in the debate.
Thank you very
Sorry,
much.
it was a little bit long, but at least you have the complete picture.
Thanks a lot. I guess that there are a couple of questions. Tessa, please.
Yes. So to Valentina, which is the percentage of co-funding by I3 for SMEs?
So the percentage for co-funding should be the percentage of co-funding allowed by ERDF, because the legal base is ERDF. So we will be totally aligned.
Okay, perfect. And then also somebody's asking how the private sector is involved in this initiative. Are companies going to be the direct beneficiaries?
Yes, the companies will be the final beneficiary, because we intend to implement, let's say, the grant will be given to an intermediary, which will redistribute the money between the companies belonging to the investment portfolio. But the final beneficiary will be companies. Companies, in particular SMEs, even if large companies are not excluded, if they are connected to the value chain of small companies, or the small companies belong to the value chain of large company, but you will have to justify the majority of resources will have to be for the small company. If a certain amount can also go to the large company.
Okay, and how will you select the members of the expert group?
So members of the expert group will be selected according to the rules foreseen for the EGSSE expert group. So basically the governance of structural funds, meaning member states representatives integrated with representatives from regions, universities, or RTOs, for example, civil society, if we manage to find a good representative, yeah, basically the key actors of the quadriplegics ecosystem.
Okay, thank you, Valentina. Do we take more questions, Andrea?
For example, also clusters will be key actors that we could include. So it will be, but let's say it will be our board, the political level, which will have to at the end to choose who will be part of the expert group. We will propose. Of course, we have already in mind the type of organization that we would like to see in the expert group, but we cannot escape from member states.
Okay. Tessa, I wouldn't take any other question, okay, but I would give the responsibility of the conclusions to a very, very quick round table. Mainly Mikkel and Ilka, if you can please, since we have a lot of colleagues online, just give in 15 seconds each a suggestion to them in order to be ready to benefit the most from these interregional tools. What you would suggest to your colleagues to set up an investment proposition that has all the features and items to be A, bankable, B, to match all these criteria. Mikkel, you go first, 15 seconds.
Andrea, I think Mikkel is not there.
It's not there. Then Ilka, please. What you would suggest?
Well, I suggest that if I answered your question right, first of all the regions have to do their own homework very well, because it's very important to understand what are they doing, what are their expertise in every region to connect those expertise together, and then go ahead with their initiatives to the next steps. And this is very important to understand. And of course, to understand that all these things we are preparing here have to be more or less business driven. And these are those main ideas I got from this. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes, you did. Thank you very much. Then a last remark on my side. Please take into consideration the strong potential this I3 initiative has to de-risk the investment, being part of an overall blended financial approach where you can use the grant component to de-risk the financial contribution from other private investors. I would like to thank all the participants. Thank you very much for being with us up until now, and leave the floor to EURADA for the next steps. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you. So we break for lunch for a while. Half an hour, we will be back at 1:30 sharp, where Roberta Dall'Olio will guide us through the awards with the help of Ulla Engelman and a number of winners, which is a nice thing. So we hope to see you back after lunch. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.